Picture this. You drive off the lot in what feels like a steal of a car, grinning at that low monthly payment. But months later, the real bill hits. Insurance spikes, repairs pile up, and suddenly you're wondering where your budget went wrong. A lot of people think they bought a cheap car. What they really bought was a lower monthly payment and a much more expensive total ride. Stick with me through this video, and you'll walk away with a straightforward framework to spot truly affordable cars, one that cuts through the payment hype and reveals the full financial picture, so you can make smarter decisions that actually protect your wallet. This trap sneaks up on people for good reason. That monthly payment, it's a simple, digestible number that slides right into your budget like it belongs there. $349 a month feels responsible, almost too easy. But zoom out. In the true cost, factoring in interest, insurance, fuel, and those inevitable fixes could double it to $700 or more. That's how affordable turns into a slow financial drain. A low payment might come from a no-frills car with fair terms, sure, but more often it's smoke and mirrors, a loan dragged out to eternity, sky-high interest, an aging model begging for repairs, or leftover debt from your last trade-in. The payment whispers yes while the commitment screams not so fast. And here's why it stings. Transportation isn't pocket change, it's often the second biggest expense after housing. Get it wrong and it doesn't just blow your auto line item. It erodes your savings, squeezes your emergency fund, stalls your investments, and turns everyday hiccups into full-blown stress. Can I swing the payment? Sounds practical, but it's a shortcut that leaves you exposed. The payment is not the price, it is the packaging, and good packaging can hide a lot. A dealer can lower the payment by stretching the loan from 5 years to 7. A lender can make the deal work by charging a higher rate, and a buyer can make the whole thing feel safer by focusing on the monthly bill while ignoring what the car will cost after it gets home. That is the issue. A cheap car payment can reflect real affordability, but it can also be a slower, cleaner way to overpay. So when you look at a car, one number is not enough. You want the full ownership picture. What is the payment? How long is the loan? How much interest are you paying? What will insurance look like? What is the repair profile? And how much cash will you need to keep this car from turning into a credit card problem? Once you ask those questions, a lot of good deals stop looking that good. Start with the most obvious trap, which is term length. If someone finances $30,000 at a decent rate over 5 years, the payment may feel heavy. Stretch that same loan over 7 years and the payment drops. Maybe it falls from something like $580 to $430. That feels safer in the moment, but the car did not become cheaper. You just agreed to carry it longer and pay more interest for the privilege. That is one of the easiest ways to create fake affordability. Then add rate risk. Used car rates are often much higher than people expect, so someone buys an older car because the sticker price feels more reasonable, then gets hit with an interest rate that quietly turns a budget-friendly purchase into an expensive loan. Saving $5,000 or $6,000 on the sticker can feel smart, then a weaker loan gives a good part of that benefit right back. Then there is insurance. People compare the purchase price and the payment, but insurance does not care about their mental framing. If the vehicle is costly to repair, easy to steal, or expensive to cover in your area, that low payment can sit right next to a very unfriendly insurance bill every month. A car with a $320 payment and $220 insurance is not living in a very different world from a car with a $420 payment and $140 insurance. And then you get to repairs, which is where cheap can become expensive very fast. An older car can absolutely be the smarter move. Sometimes it is. But that only works if the car is reliable, inspected properly, and bought by someone with enough cash to handle normal repairs. If the buyer has no repair buffer, one bad month can wipe out the savings from chasing the lower payment. That is the pattern worth noticing. People often think they are comparing two prices when they are really comparing two ownership experiences. One car may cost more upfront but behave predictably. Another may look cheaper on paper, then start asking for money every few months through repairs, downtime stress, and emergency swipes. There is one more trap here, and it is rolled-in mistakes. A lot of people trade in a car before the loan is really done, carry negative equity into the next one, and then focus on the new monthly payment like it is a fresh start. It is not. If you're still carrying $3,000 or $4,000 from the last car, part of this new payment is paying for a car you no longer own. Take a simple example. Person A buys a used car for $18,000. The loan runs 6 years at a high used car rate, and the payment lands around $350 a month. That sounds manageable, and for a lot of people, that is exactly where the analysis stops. But over the life of the loan, the buyer pays more than $25,000. So the cheap car picked up roughly $7,000 of interest before you even get to insurance, maintenance, registration, tires, brakes, or the repair bill that shows up a month after purchase. Now compare that with a different version of cheap. Someone finances $30,000 on a new car over 7 years, and the payment lands around $450 a month. Again, that can feel reasonable, especially compared with the 5-year payment. But the lower payment came from time, not thrift. Over those 7 years, the buyer can end up paying close to $38,000 in total. So the monthly number looked manageable while the total cost kept climbing in the background. Now make it more practical. Imagine 2 buyers with similar incomes. Buyer 1 has a $400 payment, a repair fund, lower insurance, and a plan to keep the car for many years. Buyer 2 has a $300 payment, no repair cash, higher insurance, and bought a car with a shaky reputation because the monthly number looked better. Who has the safer car decision? Probably the first buyer. And you can make that even more concrete. If buyer 1 keeps $2,000 set aside for repairs and buyer 2 keeps almost nothing, then a single $1,200 repair is an inconvenience for one person and a crisis for the other. Same category of car problem, completely different financial experience. That is the point. Lower payment and safer decision are not the same thing. And to be fair, older and cheaper can still win. If you buy a reliable used car, skip the ego upgrade, keep the term reasonable, and leave room in cash for repairs, you may end up in a much better place than someone chasing a newer badge and a longer loan. So this is not a sermon about buying new or buying used. It is about refusing to let the monthly payment do all the thinking for you. A better way to judge the car is to zoom out and look at total ownership cost. Start with the payment, then add insurance, fuel, expected maintenance, and a repair reserve. Even setting aside $50 to $100 a month for repairs will tell you more truth than acting like repairs are impossible to plan for. Then look at total paid, not just monthly paid. If the payment only works because the loan is stretched deep into the future, that matters. You're not buying a lower cost. You are buying a longer obligation. After that, ask whether the car still works for your life when something goes wrong. If one repair, one insurance increase, or one bad income month would push you into debt, the car is probably too expensive for your current situation, even if the payment looks civilized. For one person, a surprise $800 bill is annoying. For someone living with only $300 of monthly margin, it can mean a credit card balance that stays around for the rest of the year. And one more thing, separate identity from transportation. A lot of people are not just buying mobility, they are buying a feeling, more status, more comfort, more proof that they are doing well. That is fine if the numbers support it. It gets expensive when that feeling is funded by a loan structure that keeps you financially boxed in. There is also an opportunity cost here, and it does not need to be dramatic to matter. If a car choice quietly costs you an extra $150 a month between interest, insurance, and repairs, that is $1,800 a year no longer available for savings, investing, or just breathing room. Over a few years, that adds up. A reasonable rule is this: if the deal only looks good when you isolate the monthly payment, it probably is not a good deal. A genuinely affordable car usually survives a wider inspection. The payment makes sense, the term is not absurd. The insurance is tolerable, the repair risk is manageable, and the car leaves enough room in your budget for life to keep being life. Bottom line, a cheap car payment is not always a win. Sometimes it is just a better-looking way to overpay. The real win is looking past the monthly number and judging the full cost of owning the car over time. That is how you protect your money from deals that look affordable on the surface but quietly get expensive later. If this helped, subscribe for more practical finance videos like this. Drop a like and tell me in the comments, what is one car deal you wish you had examined more carefully? And if you want a better framework for big money decisions, watch the next video on why getting approved is not the same as being able to afford it. Thanks for watching.